Hi, second graders. We are now going to begin topic 16. And topic 16 has to do with time, graphs, and data. Okay, you have two little work mats that is in your manila folder, and we're going to do the topic 16 one. Remember, this is the one that stays at home and has a fun little game inside. And then we're going to do 16.1. All right, so let's take a look at this one first. And we're going to be going over clocks. And this vocabulary column here starts with hour hand. So hour hand is a shorter word. So the short hand is the hour hand. That's how I remember it when I was growing up and learning clocks. That the shorter hand is the hour hand and the longer hand on the clock, so this longer hand is the minute hand. And the word minute is a longer word, so it goes with the longer hand. So the hour hand is the short hand on a clock that shows hours. The minute hand is the long hand on a clock that shows minutes. We're also going to be doing lessons on graphing. This is a bar graph, and it's a bar graph because it uses bars to illustrate the information. Okay, so if you take a look at this, and one of the important things when we're dealing with graphs, and I think we've always talked about this when we were doing our morning work and there were graphs on there, is that you always read all of the information first on your graph. Okay, so this one says favorite school subject. Along the left it says subject, and there's reading, writing, science, and math. And along the bottom it's number of children. So what this chart is about, or this graph is about, it is favorite school subjects of children. What's their favorite subject? Okay, and so when we look at it, reading is purple. And if I follow that line down, so 2 children like reading as their favorite subject. I'm going to put this over here a little bit towards the end. Okay, 2. And writing, we go all the way to the end and then we follow it down. 4 children thought writing was their favorite, felt writing was their favorite. And science, 3 children liked science, and 6 children liked math. Okay, so now it's really easy to see. Automatically we know 3 for science, 2 for reading, 6 for math. All right, and we're going to be doing comparing those graphs and the results. For example, if we look at writing and we look at science and we compare these two, writing has more students that favored it than science. How many more? 1 more. At 1 more. But if we looked at reading and writing, writing still was the favorite. But how many more students liked reading than writing? Well, 1, 2. Okay, so on the other side, we're going to do a little skip counting, skip count by 5s. And when we use clocks, let me put this clock out here. When we use clocks and we determine time, the minute hand, we're counting by 5s. Okay, so that's why practicing 5s, counting by 5s, is a good thing to do right now to refresh your memory. All right, let's go through this. 5, 10, say it with me, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. And it says use the bar graph to answer the questions. So you're going to do a lot of this during this lesson. You're going to be looking at these graphs, whether it's a bar graph, a pictograph, a line graph, whatever kind of graph it is, and you're going to be able to answer questions based on it. And again, just like the other one, I'm going to look carefully at all the information there. I look at the heading, favorite pets. Okay, so this bar graph is about favorite pets that children may have. And our choices are dog, cat, and fish. So again, one of the things that I want to do is I want to make sure that I calculate things out so it's easy for me to see. So 1, 2, 3 for dogs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for cats. And 2 thought fish were their favorite. Okay, so now we have these numbers readily available when we go to answer the questions. Which pet was chosen least? Okay, least, the lesser amount. Well, look at the colors. Which one has a bar that happens to be the smallest or the shortest? So that would be fish. It was only chose twice. How many more children like cats than dogs? Oh, so there we are comparing again. So how many more children chose cats than dogs? All right, so we have to look at, we know that cats, more children chose that, okay, 5 children, and dogs, it's 3. But we can visually just look at this. And how many more children? 2 more children. And it's important to label. And we've talked about that for story problems, for measuring, for money, that these labels are important when we're doing math. Okay, so we're going to set this aside. And we're going to get out our clock. Okay, and now one of the things that I want us to do real quickly is we're going to go and we're going to count by 5s. Okay, and I'm not going to draw in this yet. We're just going to visually do this together. Okay, we're going to start at the 12 with the old clock, and here we go. Let's count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We're halfway around, and how many minutes went by? That's right, 30. 30 minutes went by. Okay, so then we have 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So how many minutes are in 1 hour? So 1 hour, 60 minutes. Okay, so a half hour, let me make that a bit clearer, and a half hour would be 30 minutes, halfway around. All right. Okay, I am going to first start out, and we're just going to do a couple. So pull out your clocks that we created. And if you haven't created your clock yet, please, there's a video, so go back and look for a video that I made on clocks. And you should have all the supplies. I put this little brad thing in there. It's in your blue box, and I put construction paper, and that's in your blue box. And then you had a paper plate, or you can have one at home, use one at home. So if you haven't made this, go stop this video, go watch the clock video that I made, and make your clock. Then when you're done, turn this video back on, and then we'll go ahead and do this activity together, okay? All right, so we're going to start out with looking at this clock. And in first grade, definitely, and I know this year we've talked about clocks, and we've done a lot of time with our morning work and so forth. So, and we always specify that we start with the hour hand. Okay, remember the hour hand is the shorter hand. So we always start with the hour hand. All right, so if I put my hour hand down here and my minute hand up here, then what time would I have? Okay, so it would be 6, and this is o'clock, 00. So let me write this on my little board here for you. Sorry, guys. Should have just got this out before. Okay, hold on. This board's kind of icky. Just a minute. Ugh. I need some spray. You know where my spray is. It's at school. I thought I'd be able to just use this thing. Let's see if I can use this. Well, that's not going to work either. Okay, well, it's not going to be the prettiest, but it'll work. Okay, so there's 6 o'clock. So this is the hour, and these are the minutes. Okay, so we have 6 o'clock right here. Okay, so now if I have, let's say I put this on the clock. So take a second and put that on your clock. Okay, we start with the hour hand, which is the smaller hand because the word hour is shorter. And what is it pointing to? Yep, it's pointing to the 8. So then our hour is going to be 8. And then our minute, so let's take a look at our minute here. Get this other one. And then our minute, so we start up here and let's count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So then we have 30 minutes. And remember that when we get down to that 6, half the time has gone around. It's 30 minutes. And the whole clock all the way around is 60. 60 minutes equals 1 whole hour. So this happens to be 8:30. Okay? So then if I take my clock and say it's like this, what time is that? That is, look at the hour hand. It's between the 2 and the 3. Hasn't reached the 3 yet. So it is, it is 2 because it hasn't reached the 3 yet. And then it's halfway around. It's on the 6, so the minutes are 30. I think I'll get a different marker and use different colors for it. Okay, so let's say my hand is right here. Now I want you to notice that the hour hand is not right on the 10 because see the minute hand has gone halfway around. So that hour hand has moved also. It has moved slowly, but it has moved between the 10 and the 11. I know that can get very tricky sometimes. So The hour hand is between the 10 and 11. Again, it has not reached the 11, so what time is it? 10, so that's the hour. And then the minute hand, if we count and we do our hopping all the way around, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. There we are at 10:30. Okay, so these should be really easy for you. The half hours. Let me do another one of these. Okay, so again, let's look at the hour hand first, which is the smaller one. It is not on the 4 and it's not on the 5. Okay, so we want to remember that it hasn't reached the 5 yet. It goes clockwise, goes to the right. It has not reached the 5 yet, so it is still 4. So the hour is 4. And now the minute, if we start at the 12 and we count all the way, it went halfway around. And how many minutes are in an hour? 60. So how many is half? That's right, 30. So 4:30. Okay, so now on your clock, this paper that you see, if you'll get that out, okay, we're going to do this first clock right here, all right? Okay, I'm going to do it on this clock, and I'm going to write it on this paper, or on this board, so I want you to do it on your paper here, okay? All right, but let me, just a second. Okay, keep in mind that there's 2 spots for the hour and 2 spots for the minute. Okay? All right. So I'm going to put a time on here, and then I want you to figure out, see if you can figure out what it is. Okay? Okay. Here's our clock. Now I want you to take a second, and I want you to draw that on here. Okay? Now if I were to take my time, and if I were to draw it, this is what it would look like. I put a dot in the center, and then I have a little hand, and then the longer hand, which is the minute hand. Okay, so now let's figure out what this is. Okay, so let's look at the hour hand. Okay, it's between the 6 and the 7. So then we have to think, has it reached the 7 yet? No, it is still on the 6. So then I'm going to put a 6 here. Now, I can't put the 6 over here because then it would be like 60, 6 and 0. But I put the 6 here right by the colon, so it's 6. And now let's count around and figure out our minutes for our minute hand, where our minute hand is, okay? So let's start at the 12, and count with me. 5, 10, 15, 20. All right, and I'm going to do it over here, and you could do the same. So take your pencil. 5, we're going to jump. 10, 15, 20. So then down here, I get to put 6, 20. 6, 20. Okay? All right, so let me erase this. And then I'm going to give you a different time. Okay. It's a little tricky. Okay, boys and girls. All right, take a look at it. I want you to determine the hour hand first, so I want you to look at the hour hand. First of all, take your paper and draw it. Draw what you see here. Put the little hand, put the dot in the middle. So put a dot right in the middle. And then go ahead and draw the hands. I'll do the same with you. And then do the hour hand. Okay, is everybody done? All right, so now let's take a look at the hour hand. All right, it is between the 3 and the 4. So has it reached the 4 yet? No, but it is closer to, it's pretty close to that 4, but it hasn't reached it yet. So it is 3. So over here, I'm going to put 3. And then, boys and girls, we're going to count the minute hand. Remember, we count by 5s. So we're going to start way up here, okay? Way up here. And we're going to go all the way around counting by 5s, okay? So let's try. And you can do it on your paper. In fact, let me get a pen. Thought I had a pen out here, but okay. All right, so I'm going to start here, and I'm going to do the hopping, and I'm going to count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And I hope you did this with me and counted with me, because there's no point in just copying or just sitting there, and you'll never learn how to tell time if you don't participate and do it with us, okay? And I want you to pay attention to this clock now. We have 3:50 here. Let me write 3:50 here for the minutes. Okay, but one of the things that I wanted to focus on with you is we started at the 12 and we went all the way around, but we didn't really have to do that. We know that when we're here at the 6, 30 minutes have gone by. So I didn't have to go, I could just start here at 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. Okay, so then it's 3:50. All right, I'm going to put another time on. And Okay. So now you're going to take this clock out, put it out in the middle, draw what you see here. Small hour hand. Minute hand. Hope you guys can see this clearly. Okay, and then we're going to have to write the time. So, first thing we look at is which hand? That's right, the hour hands. We look at the hours first. So, small hand is the hour hand, and it's between 1 and 2. And I always think, well, it hasn't reached the 2 yet. 2 comes after 1, it hasn't reached it. So it's still 1 o'clock. And I can't put the 1 here. That would be 10 o'clock. Okay, so I would put 1 here. That's for the hour. And now let's count the minutes, okay? I'm going to put a 1 here. Oops. All right, now let's count the minutes. Now I could start up here at the 12 at the o'clock and count 5 5s all the way around. I can do that. Or I can start where? At the 6, because we know it's halfway around, it's 30. So you can start at 30 and go, I'm going to start up here for those of you that still need a little more time. So o'clock. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So where did I end? At 40. 140. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to do another one. So get ready to do your last clock on the front page. All right, so go ahead and get started drawing it. And the green one, dot in the middle. Okay, are we all set? All right, so let's take a look at this clock. And where do we start? With the hour hand. So that's the shorter hand. And it's between 11 and 12. And it's far away from the 12, so we know it's still, that's right, 11. And see, that's why there's 2 spots there for the hours, because 10, 11, and 12 have 2 digits, and that's what we write there. So this would be 11. And now we have to figure out the minutes. So we start at the 12, and let's do our little jump. Count by what? 5s. 5. Okay, did everybody get 5? That was easy enough. Now, do I just write 5 here? Do I just write 5 here? No, that would be incorrect. That would be like 11:50, and that is not the correct time. So, in order to write 5 for the minutes, we have to have a 0 and a 5. So it would be 11:05. 11:05. Okay? All right, so you may need this as we go. I'm going to set this stuff aside, and let's go on the inside. And it says both clocks show the same time. Oh, let me move this down a little bit so you can see this a little bit clearer, guys. All right, both clocks show the same time. This one is an analog clock, and it says 8 o'clock. This is a digital clock, and that also shows 8 o'clock. The minute hand moves from number to number in 5 minutes, just like we showed and demonstrated. 8:05, and it says 8:05 on the digital clock, so both clocks show 8:05. Notice how they have the 5 minute intervals, counting by fives all the way around on the outside, which we have in our clock at school. The hour hand moves from number to number in 60 minutes. Now, there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, which we just discussed. Okay, the hour hand is the shorter hand, and the minute hand is the longer hand. There are 30 minutes in a half hour. Look, the hour hand is halfway between 8 and 9. See, that hour hand's halfway between 8 and 9 because that moves also when the minute hand moves. Doesn't move as far, but it also moves. I'd like you to take a look at the word bank. We have minute hand, minute, hour hand, hour, and half hour. Okay, for this one it says write the time. So it is 6:45. Okay, we're going to go to number 2. Let's take a look at the hour hand. Again, that's where we begin. It is the shorter hand, and it is between 3 and 4. So again, I'm thinking it hasn't reached the 4 yet. Still on 3. So we write 3 right next to the colon. And then we do the minute hand. We start at the 12, and let's hop around. Help with me. 5, 10, 15, 20. So it is 3:20. Okay, so now we're going to look at the orange clocks. Again, we're going to start with the hour hand, which is the smaller hand. And it is between the 9 and the 10. I mean, you have to look really close at that, but it is not quite exactly on that 10. If I were to draw a little line and go like this and continue that line, it is not on the 10. It hasn't reached it yet. So it is 9. And then we have to figure out the minutes. But boys and girls, I don't want to go all the way around, so I'm going to start at the 6. We know that's 30, okay? So count with me. 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 9:55. It's only 5 minutes away from 10 o'clock. All right, let's look at the next clock. Again, we're going to start with the hour hand, which is the shortest hand. And if I finish that hand out there, it is between the 11 and the 12. So it hasn't reached the, that's right, 12. So it is still 11 o'clock. And now let's look at that long minute hand. And we're going to start at the 12 and count by, fives, because minutes we count by fives. 5, 10. It is 11:10. Okay, if a clock shows 9 o'clock, what will the time be in 5 minutes later? Well, this is a good opportunity for you to get your clock out and make it 9 o'clock. And then remember, we're going to use the minute hand because minutes went by. It's 5 minutes later, so we're only going to touch the minute hand, okay? So we're going to take that minute hand, and it's going to go 5 minutes. Boop. And it is what time? 5 minutes after 9, or we write it 9:05. 5 minutes later. Okay. Let's go to the next one. We're writing the time here. All right, we start out with the hour hand. Okay, if I were to finish the line, finish the hand, it is between 9 and 10. So I think in my head, it has not reached the 10 yet, so it is still 9 something. And then let's take a look at that minute hand. We're going to start at the 12, and we're going to hop along counting by 5s. 5, 10. That's right, 15, 9:15. And for some of you, I know that you remember that we've also been practicing something else this year. And we were doing it a lot on our morning work. So this 9:15 would also be what? Somehow I can hear Este from all the way at home screaming 9:15. Quarter after 9. A quarter after 9 o'clock. Okay, do you remember us talking about quarter after, quarter to? So this is one of those times where this is 15 minutes or a quarter after 9. A quarter of that clock. And we'll talk more about that after. So let's take a look at number 6. We're going to look at the hour hand. It is between the 2 and the 3. And remember, you think in your head, it hasn't reached the 3 yet, still on 2. Then we go to the minute hand. We start up here and count by, that's right, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. We go all the way to that minute hand, and we got 25, so 2:25. Let's look at number 7. Start with the hour hand. If I were to finish it all the way, it's between the 12 and the 1. So it's already gone past the 12, and it hasn't reached the 1, so it is still 12 o'clock because it hasn't reached that 1. And now we're going to count by 5s to get to that minute hand. Start at the o'clock. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So really, you could have just started at the 6 and just went 35. All right, over here, let's look at that hour hand first. It's between the 4 and the 5. So it hasn't reached the 5 yet, so it's still 4 o'clock. And now we look at the minute hand. And now we're going to just start right here with the minutes. Halfway around is what, guys? It's 30 minutes. Okay, so let's start at 30. Comes after 30. Count by 5s. 35, and then 40. It's 4:40. All right, let's look at this one. Hour hand. Okay. It is on the what number? It is exactly on that 1. So we're going to put 1. Because if you move this hand up here, what time was it just 5 minutes ago? It would have been 1 o'clock. All right, then we look at the minute hand, which is right here. So we start at the 12 and count over. And what do we get? 5. So we have to put 05, because if I just put a 5, it would look like 150, and that's not correct. All right? We always have to have 2 digits there for the minutes. Complete the pattern. 7 o'clock, 7:05, 7:10. What would this be? Well, let's look at the pattern. Let's look at the hours. What are the hours? 7, 7, 7. Now let's look at the minutes. 0, 5, 10. That's right. 15. Okay, what is the time between the two times shown on the clock? Oh, so let's take a look at the first one. And this is the hour. If I finish the hour, I go all the way across. And it's between the 2 and the 3. So we know it is 2 something. It has not reached the 3 yet. Let's go to the minute hand. I'm going to start here on the 6, 30, 35, 40. So 2:40. Okay. And now over here, let's take a look at the hour hand. Stretch it out. It's between the 2 and the 3. It's 2. Hasn't reached the 3 yet. Let's go to the minutes. Start here with the 6. Count with me. 5, 10, 15. Look at me. I'm counting by 5s if I was at o'clock. Let's start again. I'm sorry. 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Sorry, you guys. I'm actually recording this late at night. So we have 2:40 and then 2:50. Okay, so I want to show you on this clock. I'm going to bring this back up again. Scoot this up so you guys can see. All right. Okay, guys. So this is what the first clock is. It's 2:40. All right. Now I'm going to go to the next one. Watch. So 2:40, 2:45, 2:50. Let's try this again. Here you go. 2:40, 2:45, 2:50. So really it only moved, the minute hand only moved from the 8 to the 10. Well, let's count how many minutes that is. 5, 10. So it only moved 10 more minutes, right? Ten more minutes. So it moved 10 minutes. So I'm going to put 10 minutes down here. And I want you guys to do that as well. So it only moved 10 minutes from this time to this time. But they really want us to know what time is between there that we missed when we're counting by 5s, which is kind of crazy. But so it's 2:45 because we have 2:45 or 2:40, then 2:45 and 2:50. So that's the middle number, the one in between those two times. It's kind of a silly question. All right, look at the clock. Which time does it show? So go ahead, see if you can figure this out. Look at the hour hand first, then look at the minutes. Choose one, and then I'll go ahead and do it real quick. Okay, well, the hour, if I finish it, it's between the 5 and the 6, so it hasn't reached the 6 yet, so I'm going to put 5, and then we always need 2 numbers for the minutes, so I'm going to go up here to 12, and I'm going to count to the minute hand. All right, here we go. 5, 10. So you are right if you chose 5, 10. Okay? Down here it says draw a clock to show your favorite time of the day. Tell if it is AM or PM and explain why it's your favorite time of the day. Okay, so boys and girls, what I'm going to have you do is I want you to draw a circle on your paper. Okay. We did this before in class, but I want to do this again for you just so that I can kind of remind you. When you're doing a clock, it'll be really easy if you do the 4 numbers that are north, south, east, and west. So here we go. 12 at the top, north. 6 at the bottom. 3 to the right, and 9 to the left. Then you can put the rest of them in there. So between 12 and 3, we have 1 and 2, and just kind of space it out. 4 and 5, and 7 and 8, 10 and 11. Your parents can help you out when you do that. And then I want you to draw whatever time of the day that's your favorite time. Tell me what you're doing and write the time. So down here, I want you to write the digital time for it. Okay, I want you to write the digital time. Put the hands on the clock, write the digital time, and then tell me what you're doing. Okay, what's your favorite time of the day? Okay. Now, normally at school, it would be like, I'll put it down here. Okay, so this is what I'm doing for my clock. I don't want you to copy it though. All right, so 11, because it hasn't reached the 12, 20, it is recess time at school. I love recess. And then, 11:20, guys, it would be a.m. until 12 noon or midday. Then it becomes p.m. Okay, so a.m.'s like the morning until it's like lunchtime or 12 noon, and then it becomes p.m. Okay? All right. So I hope that you understand this so that you can go ahead and do your homework page. And I'm going to go through this real quick. I want you to put the word recess up at the top. Code word recess for an extra point. I want you to put recess up there. R-E-C-E-S-S, recess. Okay? All right. And this is talking about telling time to 5 minutes. Count by fives every time. 30 minutes in a half hour and 60 minutes in an hour. The hour hand moves from number to number in 60 minutes. And right here, you're going to read this and write the time. This, write the time. This, write the time. And this, write the time. It's nice they give you they counted by fives for you. Same thing here, telling time to 5 minutes. So you're going to figure out what the digital time is and write it. Don't forget to trace that. What time is 6:05? What number would the minute hand be pointing to on the clock? So you can use this to help you. Okay, figure out the time. Get 6:05 on here, 5 minutes after 6. And then you'll know what it's pointing to. Look at the clock. What time does it show? We just did some of those. And look at the time on the first clock. What time will it be in 5 minutes? Okay, in 5 minutes. And we just did that on the other one also. Other problem. Okay, there you go.